State v. Johnathan Quiles, 19 CF 7518. I have counsel for the state defense. Mr. Quiles, present. Yes, sir.
I discussed with the state as far as some of the witnesses that are upcoming. Rather than going back and forth, and we've got the binder with the actual transcripts if they're needed for cross-examination or even direct for refresh the recollection of, is it acceptable if we were to put that up off to the side in the stand so that if they need to refer to it, it's there rather than going back and forth, Your Honor?
State?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. If you give it to the staff, if you give it, that's fine. If you give it to the staff, they can probably accommodate it for you.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
That doesn't bother me. Well, yeah.
Other than that, are we ready to bring the jury back in?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. I've got it.
Mr. Davis, you ready for the jury?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Sorry.
Let's bring the jury back in.
Jury, if you enter the court.
You guys may have a seat. Members of the jury, welcome back. Hope you had a nice mid-morning break. We'll probably take a same lunch break like we did the past couple of days, depending on the flow of testimony, but I don't plan on being any later than it was the past few days. With that said, State, you may call your first witness.
Kimberly Mobley, Your Honor.
Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Ms. Mobley, good morning to you, ma'am. Just have a seat. Just watch your step as you come forward. If you need a glass of water or something, let us know. We'll certainly do our best to accommodate you. The only request I would make is that if there is an objection made at some point during your testimony, just let me rule on the objection before you start talking, okay? And you can adjust the microphone as you do necessary.
Can I have a cup of water, please?
Yes. Can we get her a glass of water?
Thank you.
Certainly. And if you need a moment or anything, just take your time, okay?
Okay.
With that said, Ms. French, you may inquire. You're ready.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Mobley.
And ma'am, can you spell your last name?
It's Mobley.
And where do you generally live?
In Arlington.
Is that here in Jacksonville?
It is Jacksonville, Florida.
And how long have you lived in the Jacksonville, Florida area?
38 years.
Would that be your whole life?
Yes.
What do you do for a living?
I'm in the medical field.
And how long have you been practicing in the medical field?
13, almost 14 years.
And ma'am, do you have children?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
I have 4.
And could you please tell me their initials, and if you could just tell the first 2 their date of birth and the second 2 just current ages, please.
Okay. The first 2 date of birth is September 6, 2002.
And can you give the initials of that child, ma'am?
Yes. IS.
Thank you, ma'am. I want to make sure that we don't speak at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, ma'am. It's all right. And your second child, ma'am?
SS, September 25th, 2003. And then September 17th, 2005.
And what's the initials of that child?
SG.
And is that a son?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And you said you had a 4th child?
Yes. KM, May 11, 2009.
And up until recently, did all of your children live with you?
Yes.
When I say recently, I'm referring to your 3 youngest. Is that a yes? Okay. And is your oldest daughter, your second oldest daughter, SS, has she graduated high school?
Yes.
Now, are your 2 younger children still in school?
Yes.
Now, does IS and SS have the same father?
Yes, they do.
And what is his name, ma'am?
Willie Sawyer.
And could you spell his name, please, for the record?
Yes, it's WILLIE SAWYER.
And are you currently in a relationship with their father?
No.
And how long have you not been in a relationship with IS and SS's father?
Maybe like, I think, close to like 16 years, 17.
So the 2 of you ended your relationship early on after having SS?
Yes.
And does Mr. Willie Sawyer live here in the Duval County area?
Yes, he does.
Now, ma'am, do you have a big family?
Yes.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 sisters, a brother.
And could you tell us their names, please?
Yes, my brother is James Mobley. My older sister is Johnathan Mobley. Then there's Margiela Mobley, Naomi Mobley, and Paula Mobley.
And could you just please spell Jametta for us?
Yes, it's JAMETTA.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And do all of your sisters live here in the North Florida area?
Yes. Oh, one.
When you say yeah, you can explain a little bit more if you need to.
Well, yes. One saying Yulee. I'm not sure that could set her.
So would that be Nassau County?
Yes.
Okay, just north of us?
Yes.
Okay. And is that just one of your sisters?
It's Jametta and Margie.
Okay. Does Paula and Naomi live a little bit closer?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your mother's name?
Winella Haynes.
Can you spell her first name, please?
Yes, it's WINELLA.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Now, are you close to your sisters?
Yes.
Are you also close with any of their spouses or partners?
I would say yes, we're close.
And would that be obviously the relationship?
Family, yes.
Remember, make sure that we don't talk over each other.
Sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. I know it's hard. Now, back in 2018, was your sister Naomi Mobley married?
Yes.
And who was she married to?
Johnathan Quiles.
And do you recall approximately from today's time frame that you had become acquainted with a Johnathan Quiles?
You asking how many years?
Yes, ma'am.
If it's from today, maybe 10 years. I'm not sure.
But give or take almost a decade
Yes.
from today's time frame. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And is your sister still married to him today?
No.
Would you recognize this person, Johnathan Quiles, if you saw him again?
Yes.
Would you please take a moment and look about the courtroom to see if you recognize the person you know to be as Johnathan Quiles?
Yes.
And you just nodded your head. Do you see the person that you know to be Johnathan Quiles?
Yes.
Could you please identify that person, where they're located, and two, something that he is wearing?
Yes. He is sitting by Michelle at a table wearing a blue button-down shirt with his hair in a ponytail.
And is he wearing glasses?
Yes.
And Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
So reflected.
Now, back in 2018, did Naomi Mobley have any children?
Yes.
How many?
One. She had one at the time.
And was that a daughter or a son?
A daughter.
And was she quite young at the time?
Yes.
And were her initials NQ?
Yes.
Since 2018, has Naomi Mobley had another child?
Yes.
And was that a son?
Yes.
And was that son born in earlier 2019?
Yes.
And is the defendant the father?
Yes.
Now, I want to draw your attention to your oldest child, IS. Back in 2018, we'll talk about the fall time frame. Was she in school?
Yes.
Where was she attending?
She was attending Terry Parker High School.
What grade was she in?
She was in 10th.
How did she get to school normally?
She would ride the bus.
Now, your other daughter, SS, was she in middle school or high school back in the fall of 2018?
High school.
And what grade was SS in?
9th.
Was IS considered a homebody?
Yes.
And why is that?
She enjoyed being around family.
Where are the places, generally speaking, that IS would frequent?
To my house and my sister's house.
And when you say sister, you've got four.
Naomi house.
Now, were you working full-time back in 2018?
Yes.
And did Naomi Mobley help you when you were at work?
Yes.
Now, was Naomi Mobley the only one in her household that would help you with your children?
No, she wasn't.
And who else would assist?
Her husband, ex-husband, Johnathan.
Okay, the defendant that you've identified?
Yes.
Okay. And would that include all four of your children or a variation of your children?
Sometimes all four.
Were there occasions where just your two daughters would go over to the defendant's home?
Yes.
Now, did the defendant live in Naomi Mobley, your sister? Did they live far from you?
I won't say too far, no.
Did they live at more than one location back in 2018?
I want to say it was just one location at 2018.
And do you remember where that was at?
It was off of 16th Street.
What about did they ever live at a location off of Trout River Road?
Yes.
Was that the second home they had lived in?
Yes, it was.
Now, did IS have a close group of friends?
Yes.
Can you just tell us their names, please?
Some of their names are Albertha, Marie, Haley, Sabria.
Had your daughter IS known them for years?
Yes.
And would that include elementary school?
Elementary. And some, I would say, kindergarten.
Would IS go over to any of her friends' homes?
Not really. She visited Sabria before a few times, but she never stayed the night.
In fact, did IS ever stay the night at any of her friends' homes?
No.
Where are the places that IS would stay the night?
My house and her aunt house, Naomi.
Was IS a good student?
Yes.
In fact, did she have straight A's?
Yes, she did.
And was IS preparing for college?
Yes, she was.
Did IS have a cell phone?
Yes.
And did someone in your family help provide that cell phone to her?
Yes.
And who was that?
I think the cell phone that she had, it was her cell phone services through her grandparents.
Okay, that's just all I'm asking right now. And would that be on your side, ma'am, or her father's side?
Her father's side.
And are their names Nancy and Clifford where?
Yes, it is.
Now, ma'am, I'm going to draw your attention right now to the early part of December of 2018. Did you find something out pretty shocking about your daughter, IS?
Yes.
What did you find out? And again, try not to go into statements, just what you learned.
That she was with child.
How did you feel after hearing this? Because how old was your daughter at the time?
16.
Okay.
I was a little upset at first because I didn't want her to get in way of college. You know, her dreams got high dreams. She was in between, like, choosing to be a lawyer or a doctor. So I was upset at first, but when I came home from work and first time I felt baby kick, it was out the window. I just wanted to be supportive and be there for her.
Did your focus shift at that point?
Immediately.
Did you set up a OBGYN appointment for her?
Yes.
And specifically, do you remember what date you learned that your daughter IS was pregnant?
December 3rd.
And was the appointment you set up on December the 13th, 2018?
13th, yes.
And did you go with IS to that appointment?
Yes, I did.
And was the pregnancy confirmed when you were at that appointment?
Yes.
Did you also learn how far along IS was?
Yes.
How far along?
She was about 5 months, 22 weeks.
Now, how did you not know that your daughter was pregnant since she was already 5 months along?
Iyana,
Physical standpoint, I apologize for interrupting.
Iyana, she's tall, she's slim, and then also she wore a lot of hoodies over her.
In fact, was she about 5'8",
Yes.
but quite thin?
Yes, she's thin.
Was abortion ever an option?
An option?
Abortion.
No, not for me. I didn't. No.
Okay. Was the plan for IS to have the baby?
Yes, she wanted to.
Did you find out the gender of IS's child?
Yes.
And what was it?
Gender was a girl.
And had she been named?
Yes.
And what was that name?
Hazel Michelle Mobley.
And again, not going into many details of statements, did you ask your daughter who was the father of her child?
Yes.
Did you ever learn who was the father of your child from IS?
No, no, she gave me a name.
Was that name Jose?
Yes.
Now, Did you do some math regarding that approximate 5 months time frame that your daughter was at?
Yes.
And what, if you're subtracting that 22 and a half, 5 months, what date did you get to?
July.
Now, in July of 2018, how old would have been IS?
15.
And shortly before that July 2018 timeframe, did IS and SS go somewhere that summer?
Yes.
Where did they go?
To their grandparents' house.
Would that be Mr. and Mrs. Ware?
Yes.
And do they live out of state?
Yes, they do.
In fact, do they live in Columbus, Georgia?
Yes.
Do you know when SS and IS came back from Georgia?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because it was my mom's birthday.
And what day is your mom's birthday?
July 7th.
Did you and your family have a birthday party for your mother?
Yes.
And was it actually on her birthday?
Yes, it was.
Was it a weekend
Yes.
that year? Now, did SS come home with you after the party?
After the party,
I'm talking about SS.
like to grab clothes from the house.
I'm just asking that. Well, let me rephrase my question. Maybe this will be a little bit easier. First, I'm about SS. Did SS come back to your home and stay at your home?
Oh, no.
What about IS?
No.
And where did IS and SS, if they even stayed at the same place, go to?
Their aunt house, Naomi.
And did they stay the night over there?
Yes, they did.
And just to be clear, that's also where the defendant was living.
Yes.
Now, prior to, and we'll get to, again, why we're ultimately here on the 12/19 date, but prior to that date, ma'am, did you accuse someone of being the father of IS's baby prior to her disappearing from Terry Parker High School?
Prior to it, there were some accusations, yes.
Did you make an accusation?
Yes.
And who was that against?
Johnathan.
And is that because of the math time frame that you calculated?
Yes.
At that time frame, I'm just talking about from the July time frame to the December time frame of 2018. I'm talking about personal knowledge, okay, ma'am? Not what you've heard, but just personal knowledge. Were you aware of any boyfriend-girlfriend relationship that IS was in?
No.
Now, kind of going back, thinking about potential boyfriend-girlfriend situations for IS, going back earlier in 2018, did you also learn something involving your daughter and a neighbor?
Yes.
And was that person Kamar Humphrey?
Yes, it was.
And back in March of 2018, how old was your daughter?
15.
And was the neighbor 20 years old?
Yes,
Did you report that to the police?
I did.
And the next day, did you accompany your daughter to have a sexual assault examination?
I did.
Now, after you, again, personal knowledge, after you reported the incident involving your daughter and the neighbor, Kamar Humphrey, did you ever see Kamar Humphrey again?
No, maybe like once. I think he ended up moving.
Did you ever see him talking with your daughter?
No.
And did you ultimately press charges against Kamar Humphrey on behalf of your daughter, IS?
Yes, I started the process.
Okay. Now, did your daughter like a particular brand?
Yes.
What brand was that?
It's the Victoria's Secret pink clothing line.
And did she like all the aspects of that brand?
Yes.
And when I say all aspects, I'm just meaning from like the beauty fragrance all the way through undergarments.
Yes.
Okay. And did she have a lot of those items
Yes, she did.
associated with that brand?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, I'm going to draw your attention now to December 19th, 2018. Did that start off as a normal day?
Yes.
Did you go to work?
Yes, I did.
Did your children go to school?
Yes.
And did your children ride the bus?
Yes.
However, did that day end normally?
No.
At some point, did you learn that your daughter, IS, did not ride the bus home?
I did.
Since you were at work, did you call on other family members to assist?
I did.
And were they Margie Mobley and Johnathan Mobley?
Yes.
Who, and again, not going into statements, but who told you that IS had not come home on the bus?
SS.
Was that abnormal?
Yes, it was abnormal.
Did you normally have frequent contact with IS?
Yes,
Now, after hearing this, did you try to call her?
I did.
Were you able to reach her?
I was not.
Were you able to leave work?
I did leave work.
Did you go to Terry Parker High School?
Yes, I did.
Did you reach out to friends?
Yes.
Did you contact police?
My sister started it off. She called the cops for me.
Did you speak with the police later on?
Yes.
Did you create flyers?
Yes.
However, did you ever hear from IS?
No.
Where did IS work back in 2018?
At Chick-fil-A.
And did you ultimately obtain her paychecks that she never picked up?
Yes.
Now, did you go through IS's room?
Yes.
Were you trying to find anything and everything to find out why your daughter was not home?
Yes.
Did IS and SS share a bedroom?
They did.
What did you notice was missing from IS's portion of the bedroom?
Some of her underwear, bras, her clothing.
That was from that Victoria's Secret pink brand?
Yes.
Did you let police know?
Yes.
Now, we've been talking a lot about IS. So I'm going to approach. Just give me one moment. Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked as stipulation states evidence 22. Do you recognize this person?
Yes.
Who is it?
My daughter.
Is this IS?
Yes, it is.
And is this what IS looked like when she never came back in December of 2018?
Yes.
Next, I'm showing you states evidence 23. Do you recognize it?
I do.
And can you tell us what is State's Evidence 23?
It's IS.
And what is it showing about IS?
Her pregnancy, her stomach.
Can we see that she is pregnant in State's Evidence 23?
Yes.
And is she also wearing her favorite brand?
Yes.
Okay. And in State's Evidence 23, was this photograph taken near the time frame before December 19, 2018?
Yes.
Next, I'm showing you State's Evidence 24. Do you recognize it?
I do.
And what are we looking at in State's Evidence 24?
My granddaughter Hazel.
And is this a sonogram picture?
Yes, it is.
And was this taken on December 13th, 2018?
Yes, it was.
When you were present and the pregnancy was confirmed?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, at some point, did you get contacted by a homicide detective, Billy Abbott?
Yes.
And is that when you learned that the investigation of your daughter had turned into a homicide investigation?
Yes.
And based upon your knowledge, had anyone seen her since December 19, 2018?
No.
Now, ma'am, I'm going to show you, which marked as State's Evidence 25, that's been stipulated into evidence. Ma'am, is your screen up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I know we got a big screen, but you got a screen right beside you.
Members of the jury, are your TV monitors working? Okay. If at any point they're not working and you think they should be based off what your testimony is, just raise your hand and let me know so I don't have to keep asking you this.
Now, ma'am, in State's Evidence 25, are we looking at Terry Parker High School?
Yes, we are.
Now, ma'am, we just saw an individual in State's Evidence 25. Who was that person?
IS.
And is that from the last day that she was at school?
Yes, it is.
Now, ma'am, did you ever, or was IS's cell phone ever recovered?
No.
After speaking with Detective Abbott, were you informed that they were going to search the landfill?
Yes.
And were you asked to look at some of the items from the landfill?
To
some of the items that were found from the landfill later on.
Later on,
However, while JSO was at the landfill, were you asked if you could describe any of the Victoria's Secret undergarments?
yes,
Was there a time frame that you and your sister and yourself, and you can clarify which, I believe it was Jametta, or is it Paula?
Paula.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That you, Paula Mobley, and then your daughter IS, did the three of you get matching undergarments from Victoria's Secret?
Yes,
And did you describe those undergarments to police?
I did.
And were they for a specific seasonal time frame at Victoria's Secret?
It was.
And was that for Valentine's Day?
Yes, it was.
And have you ultimately had a chance to look at that undergarment that was found from the landfill? The actual item.
Yes,
And because of that item, did you then provide some items to JSO?
yes,
So, ma'am, I'm showing you states evidence 45 and 46. Do you recognize them?
I do.
And how do you recognize states evidence 45 and 46?
Because they're
Here, make
mine.
sure, I'll stand up to make sure the microphone.
They were a gift from my sister.
And can you tell us what they are?
They're Victoria's Secret Valentine's Day underwear.
And are these the two items that you provided to JSO?
I did.
Now, were you shown the item, like we talked about, in states evidence 42?
Yes,
And did you recognize states evidence 42?
yes.
What did you recognize states evidence 42 to be?
Iyana's IS underwear.
And that was, again, the matching pair to what you and your sister had.
It is.
Now, Ms. Mobley, just to be clear, these items, 45 and 46, were in your possession, correct?
Yes,
However, states evidence 42 was from the landfill.
yes.
I'm showing you now what's been marked and stipulated as states evidence 43A. Do you recognize it?
Yes,
Now, is it a bra?
yes it is.
Is it from Victoria's Secret?
Yes it is.
And did states evidence 43 from the landfill look similar to a bra that IS had?
Yes,
Now, states 43 is composite, where there's actually 3 bras. However, the only one that you recognize is the first one. Is that fair to say?
yes.
And again, I'll show you just to make sure. But the one that you feel more confident about is 43A?
Yes.
Next, Ms. Mobley, I'm showing you what's been marked and stipulated to as State's Evidence 44. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Are we looking at another brawl?
Yes.
And is it a brawl from Victoria's Secret?
Yes.
Who do you recognize State's Evidence 44 to be?
IS.
And do you feel confident about State's Evidence 43?
I do.
Now, ma'am, drawing your attention back to your residence, did you find something of interest in IS and SS bedroom,
I did.
and specifically in the closet area?
Yes.
And what were those items?
Pills.
And did you call police?
I did.
Did you have police come out?
Yes.
And did they take photographs?
They did.
And did they collect those items?
They did.
So next I'm going to show you what's been marked in as composite states 18. Now, at the time, were you living at 7834 India Avenue?
Yes.
And that's where IS was living as well?
Yes.
So I'm showing you states 18A. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
My house.
Now, in states 18B, can you tell me what we're looking at?
Yes. IS room.
Now, looks pretty messy. Tell us about that.
That was my doing. I was going through everything. I did let them know, the police officers, that I was going through everything, so it may be a little messy, but they told me to leave everything alone. But I went through books, shoes, blankets, closets, trying to find anything that could help locate her.
Now, what side of the room would be associated with IS?
The left.
And if you actually just take your finger, you can draw. Do you mind just circling? Yeah, take your finger, you can actually touch the screen. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
And so just to be clear for record purposes, is it fair to say, Ms. Mobley, that you have circled the bed that has hot pink and black bedding?
Yes.
Next in states 18C, is this just another view with some items picked up off the ground?
Yes.
Okay. Now in states evidence 18D, what can we see that she again, her favorite brand?
Pink, Victoria's Secret.
Now in states evidence 18E, can you describe what we're looking at?
Their closet.
When you say the closet, we're still in the bedroom of your daughters?
Yes.
Now, is there a certain item in the closet that caught your attention?
Yes.
Can you please circle that for us?
It's a shoebox.
Here, I'll let you start over, no worries. There you go. You said a shoebox.
Yes.
Is that an Adidas shoebox?
I don't recall the exact shoebox.
That's okay, no worries. What color is the shoebox?
I don't recall the exact shoebox.
That's okay. All right, let's keep looking here. States 18F. Is that a closer view of shoebox?
Yes,
All right. Now I'm showing you states 18G. Do you recognize it?
I do.
How do you recognize it?
Because those are the items I called about.
So is that the shoebox that we're talking
Yes.
about? Does that help refresh your recollection? Now, are these the items that you found within that shoebox?
Yes, I did.
And what were those items?
Parsley and Donquay.
And was there some tissue paper, an old Foot Locker receipt, and then a shoe tag? Is that fair to say, ma'am?
Yes,
Was there anything else that was in that shoebox that's not depicted in States 18I?
no,
And did law enforcement come and take those items?
yes, they did.
Now, again, I'm just asking you a very general question. Did you learn that those pills could be connected to the defendant and your daughter, IS?
Yes,
Okay. And is that why you wanted law enforcement to have it?
yes,
Now, did you physically touch those items?
I did.
And based upon that, were you asked to provide your DNA?
Yes,
Okay. And did you willingly provide your DNA?
I did.
Here, I just have one moment. Ms. Mobley, as we sit here today, September the 14th, 2023, have you had contact with your daughter, IS, in any format
No, I haven't.
since December 19th, 2018?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense.
Good morning. Let's start, if we can, with the day that IS went missing. The day that she went missing, you said and you testified that your daughter informed you, SS, that IS did not get on the bus. Is that correct?
Yes,
Did you question SS about where IS might be?
yes,
You did not receive any information as to what her whereabouts were outside of the fact that she did not get on the bus, correct?
correct.
In fact, that continued, that there was no knowledge of where she might be, what could have happened, or anything outside of she just didn't get on the bus. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and that went on for days and weeks, in fact.
yes,
After IS went missing, you started searching, correct?
yes,
You were doing whatever you could to try and locate her and find out where she might be. Correct? Yes, sorry.
yes,
Thank you so much. When you were searching, at some point did you come across, or did you try to search for her debit card usage?
yes,
Okay. And did you in fact find that she had used her debit card the day she went missing?
we wasn't sure. Looked like there could have been a transaction, but I don't have direct access to her bank account. We wasn't sure.
Okay. And that bank account, was that one that I believe you testified to that was set up by her grandmother? Okay. And is that Miss Nancy Ware?
Yes, it is.
So she might have a little bit more information as to that credit card usage.
Yes.
As best as you can recall, though, do you recall that credit card potentially being used at a Wendy's?
Yes.
Okay. Did you follow up on that usage at the Wendy's? Did you go to that Wendy's?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you remember if you gave that information to police and asked them to follow up with that potential lead?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if they actually did, in fact, follow up with that to see if she had been to that Wendy's the day she went missing?
I want to say they looked into it.
Okay. Do you know what side of town that Wendy's was on?
I think the south side.
South side? East South side?
I think, yes.
Okay. Outside of that particular lead that you discovered in looking at her debit card usage, did you search other locations of where she might have gone and where she might have been?
Yes.
Okay. You were kind of doing that on your own, correct? It was just you and your family trying to find her.
Yes.
At that point in time, police weren't really doing the things that you all were doing. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And after she went missing, the police actually listed her as a runaway at that point, according to you.
Yes, I want to say.
Okay. And you're pretty upset with police. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, I was a little upset because I didn't believe that she was a runaway.
Understood. And more specifically, were you upset because they weren't publicizing her being missing in the news and in the media?
I was upset because my daughter, she's pregnant, she's missing, and I didn't get a ton of updates immediately.
Okay. Do you recall actually calling into police and demanding that they do so, that they put her on the news and that they start to publicize that?
I called the sheriff's office and asked them about it.
Okay. And I mean, fair to say you were trying to do anything you could to get them to publicize her being missing. Is that fair to say?
Publicized, yes. I was trying to get updates.
And you had made flyers, you had posted it on social media, you were doing whatever you possibly could to get the fact out that she was missing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the background that you gave as far as where IS would stay. You stated that she was at your house, obviously, she lived with you.
Yes.
She stayed with her Aunt Naomi and her Uncle Johnathan.
Yes.
But she also stayed at her grandparents' house in Georgia, correct?
Yes.
And she spent that whole summer before she went missing in Georgia with them.
Yes, she did.
And the date that you recall her coming back was July 7th of 2018, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and was that all four of your kids, or was that just IS and SS?
IS and SS who was out of town.
Okay. So when they came back, you said they came back for your mother's birthday party.
Yes.
And you remember that distinctly and confidently, that's the date.
Yes.
All right. And that, to you, is that the reason why, as you said, that you believe that that's the time period that she conceived the child that she was pregnant with when she went missing?
Yes, you said is that the reason
Why you believe that's the time period that she conceived the child that she was pregnant with when she went missing?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also believe that she spent a lot of time at her Aunt Naomi's house and her Uncle Jonathan's house, and so that's part of the reason as well?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Jose. You stated that the person that she told you the father was Jose. Is that correct?
Yes, that was the name she gave me.
But she also gave you several other names.
It was another one that she did.
There were more than two names. Is that fair to say that she provided you with?
I don't recall. I think I know of at least two.
Okay, maybe more.
I don't recall.
When you, at some point, I know you were trying to figure out who these people who she named as the father were. You were actually doing investigation to try and figure out who that might be, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you were calling people, talking to friends of friends to figure out who it could be?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you find and give information to police that you believe that IS and Jose were together in Azalea Ridge Apartments where Willie Sawyer, her father, was living at the time?
I don't recall.
You don't remember giving that information to police?
If I did, anything that I heard or seen, anything that I heard, I gave to the police. It was a lot of things, like if I hear this, see this, if I see somebody on Facebook or social media making comments, I gave it all to the police. I don't remember every single thing, but I did turn it over to police, anything I thought that may be useful.
Understood. As far as Jose, did you also at that time believe him to be, and I'm quoting, a Hispanic and black male?
Hispanic?
Okay, the black male portion, you don't recall that?
I don't recall.
Okay, you don't recall him being described as being mixed in any way?
I just know she said Puerto Rican.
Okay. And you don't specifically remember anything as it relates to Jose residing in the Azalea Ridge Apartments?
Not that I can recall of.
All right. You talked about your feelings about finding out that IS was pregnant. You said you were upset at first, but you decided to be supportive of her.
Yes.
When you were upset, I imagine that you were pretty irate to find out that your 15, 16-year-old daughter was pregnant.
I was shocked.
Did you yell at IS about that?
I did not yell at her.
Did you call her any derogatory names?
Not directly, no. If I vented a little bit, it'd probably been my sister, but to be honest, I thought it was a prank.
You talked about finding out that she was pregnant. You believe it was in December.
Yes.
December 3rd specifically, maybe even. Do you recall that as the date?
December 3rd.
And then 10 days later, you set the appointment, and that's when you all confirmed that she was, in fact, pregnant and 5 months pregnant.
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned during your direct examination that accusations had been made about who the father was and that you made the accusation. It came from you that it was Johnathan Quiles who was the father.
Yes, I was one. Yes.
I'm sorry, repeat yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And that accusation, you say you made that after you find out that she was pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. Had there ever been any accusations prior to that of Johnathan Quiles having any sort of sexual relationship with IS?
You said prior to it?
Prior to IS getting pregnant?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Let's talk about Kamar Humphrey. Do you recall when how you found out that Kamar Humphrey had sexually battered IS?
Battered?
That he sexually assaulted IS?
That's it, yes.
How did you find that out?
I found out through my son.
Okay. At that point, you did in fact report that to police?
I did.
And you asked police to investigate that?
I did.
You provided them all the information that you could as far as what you knew about that situation?
Yes.
You mentioned, when you were asked actually, whether you had seen him any after that. And you stated that you don't think you did, you think he moved away.
Yes.
Do you remember when he moved away?
No, I think it was like very shortly after the situation where I called the cops on him.
So according to you, Kamar Humphrey was not living as your next door neighbor across the street at the time that IS went missing?
I said, no, at the time she went missing, I don't think he was.
Okay. And did you know him? Did you know him well?
No.
Okay. Had you seen or talked to him before?
Yeah, he used to play basketball outside sometimes with my kids.
Okay. So outside of seeing him playing basketball with your kids outside, you didn't know anything else about him. Had you ever had any personal conversations with him?
No. Not no, just when, at the time I called the cops, but outside of that, no.
So you actually confronted him about that situation when you called the cops?
Yes, I asked him about it.
Okay. And after that situation with Mr. Humphrey, isn't it true that accusations that there was a sexual relationship between Johnathan Quiles and IS come out at that time?
After Humphrey?
Yes, around that time period.
I don't recall.
Following that time period and going throughout that entire year, you stated that your kids would continue to spend time at their Aunt Naomi and Uncle Jonathan's house, correct?
So, yes.
As far as Kamar's relationship with IS, outside of that one incident that you found out about and reported to police, were you aware of their relationship, of maintaining like a continuous relationship between them?
No.
Okay. And you don't actually know when or if there was any sort of relationship that happened or occurred after that?
Not to my knowledge, it wasn't.
All right, I want to talk to you about the items of evidence that you were shown. The first was the underwear, the Valentine's Day underwear as you described them, correct?
Yes.
All right. That and the bras, those bras that you identified or believe belong to IS, you cannot, as you sit here today, say for certain that those items belong to IS.
They look like the items that she have.
Exactly. Thank you. They look like items that you knew to have she had in her possession, but as far as knowing that those are hers, you cannot say that.
Well, the underwear, I could definitely say that they look exactly like the ones that she had.
Okay. And that's fine. You can definitely say it looks like the ones she had.
Yes.
Okay. As far as the size, do you know what size those underwear were? The ones that are in evidence right there.
I don't know what size they are.
If I told you they were a large, is that IS's size?
Iyana picked up a little bit of weight with her pregnancy. She did sometimes. That's not her regular size as a large, but if she really wants something like boy shorts or even regular clothes, she will upsize. She didn't care.
All right. When you said she was quite thin, so what would her normal size be?
I don't recall. I have to go back and look at my planner.
You don't know if your child was a small, medium?
It was either, I'm not sure, maybe a medium. I'm not sure.
When those underwear were purchased with you, I believe your sister, you said it was a gift, and for IS, was that when she was pregnant or was that prior to when she was pregnant that you guys obtained those underwear?
Before she was pregnant.
Okay, would that have been, you said Valentine's Day, would that have been February around Valentine's Day? So that was well before she got pregnant.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say she picked up a little weight, you're talking about during pregnancy, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so at that time, she would have been maybe a medium, according to you.
She could have been.
Okay, so if those underwear are a large that you identified, that would not be her size, correct?
I wouldn't say that because she do wear large underwear, boy shorts, and like I said earlier, she do tend to wear larger clothing. She takes my clothing.
All right, let's talk about a couple other things. As far as, well, let me ask you another follow-up question. I apologize. Let me back up just a little bit. You set the appointment to confirm IS's pregnancy, correct?
Yes.
And when you went there, you actually asked them to do a panorama, which would confirm the sex of the baby.
I actually I got a referral to have it done.
Okay. And so the doctor did send that referral out for you all. And that's how you were able to confirm that it was a girl or a boy?
Yes.
Okay. Did you guys do any blood work or anything like that? Or was there anything that you requested specifically to find out whom the father may be?
No, we just took her to find out what the sex of the baby was.
Okay. There was nothing else. There's no DNA or anything like that to confirm who it is. So as you sit here today, you do not know who the father of IS's unborn child was.
Can you rephrase?
I'll repeat it. You want me to rephrase or
Yes.
repeat what I said? Okay, let me try again.
Sure.
Okay. You don't have any DNA nor anything else to confirm who the father of IS's unborn child is, correct?
I don't personally have DNA, no.
Okay. Did you know IS to be in any other relationships? I mean, like boyfriend, girlfriend type of relationships during that time period?
No.
And was that something that she would have confided in you about? Is that the type of conversations you all would have?
We had all type of conversations, but I wasn't aware of any boyfriend.
Fair to say that might be something she wouldn't share with you. If it's not, you can say she would share with me. That's fine if that's how you feel.
I think to a certain extent she may.
All right, I want to talk about the last thing you identified. You said that you had been searching IS and SS's room for any evidence of where she might be, correct?
Yes.
Do you recall finding items? I know you said there were several places that you tried to look and you can't recall all of them. Do you recall specifically locating some address that you believed IS could possibly be at? Do you remember this?
Yes,
Okay. Did you follow up on that yourself?
I did.
Okay. Did that lead to anything as far as there may be someone that she was with at that time?
No.
Okay. As far as you know, that address that you listed and that you found it did belong to a person, correct?
A lady.
Okay. It was a lady and she had children, correct?
Yes.
And those children there, they denied having anything to do with IS's disappearance.
Correct.
Did you provide that information to police?
Yes.
Did they follow up on that?
I don't know.
To your knowledge, no, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay. And the other thing that you talked about finding in the very end there was that shoebox. That shoebox, we saw pictures of it, was in the top right-hand corner of the closet that IS and SS shared, correct?
Yes.
And that box had been there since IS had gone missing. Is that fair to say?
I don't know. I was just going through their room. I'm assuming yes.
Okay. It didn't look disturbed in the picture, so I'm asking, did you move that there? Did you put it there? Or was that somehow you found it?
Oh, it was there. I went through the shoebox.
Okay, that's what I was asking. So
Yes, sorry.
where is pictured it, or where you see it in the photo is where you found it.
Yes.
And obviously you've taken it down and looked in it,
Yes.
but then you returned it back to the spot before police arrived and looked through it. Is that correct?
I don't recall.
You can't recall if you put it back there or not?
I'm not 100% sure. I just remember taking out the box. I pretty much tearing out the room, looking through everything. I just know I think they asked where did I get the items from. I'm not 100% sure. I don't recall.
Fair enough, and that's okay. As far as the pills that were found inside that box, your DNA is on those pills.
Yes.
No one else's DNA is on those pill bottles, as far as you know.
Oh.
You said no? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I know mine's probably on it because I touched it.
Okay. But as far as anyone else's DNA, you're not aware of anybody else's DNA being on those pill bottles?
I don't recall.
Okay. And that was found several months even after IS went missing. Is that fair to say?
I don't recall how long ago it was, like prior, after she went missing.
Okay. Was it quite some time after she went missing, or was it immediately after she went missing?
It wasn't immediately like the next week or so. I don't remember.
Okay. You can't remember if it was weeks or if it had been a couple months or anything like that?
I don't remember.
Okay. And I'm assuming you did report it to police, so the day that you reported it to police would be the day that you found it?
Yes.
Okay. So if law enforcement told us that it was months later, that would probably be the most accurate, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And those pill bottles, had you ever seen them before?
No.
Okay. And I assume you asked your other daughter, SS, since it's in her closet, about that.
Yes.
And about their room, they both had beds in that room. I know we couldn't see two beds, but there are two beds in that bedroom photograph that we saw, correct?
Yes.
And I know you circled the one side that was IS's. The side that you can't really see, that's where SS was sleeping.
Yes.
That closet, however, that we saw, that's a shared closet that both of them used.
Yes.
Okay. And so you don't know for certain whether or not those pill bottles belong to SS, if she had put them there, or if IS had put them there?
I don't recall when I asked her.
And you said that I know it was a little messy, and you had gone through a lot of stuff. At some point, police told you, don't do anything else, don't touch anything else, leave it as it is. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you after that touch anything else in that area?
After they told me not to?
Correct.
No.
Okay, you didn't disturb anything further?
No, I left out the room.
Okay. One moment, Your Honor. Just one other follow-up question. In your search and trying to figure out where IS might have been, do you recall there being a plane ticket found at some point?
I remember something about one, but I don't remember detail. I just remember something about it. I don't know details or anything.
Okay, that sounds familiar to you, though, that there was
I
a
think
plane
I
ticket.
heard one time.
Sorry, I didn't finish the question, so let me just finish it. You do recall hearing something about a plane ticket being found in relation to IS going missing?
I heard something in regards to a plane ticket, but I don't remember.
You don't remember the details
Yes,
of like where it was, at exact dates, those type
I
of
do
things?
not recall.
Understood. Would that have been information that you provided to law enforcement?
I don't recall.
Okay. I don't have anything further, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mobley, did you ever receive any information that your daughter took a plane flight?
I don't recall.
Were you going to do a DNA test of the baby after it was born?
It would have been more so like Iyana's IS decision.
Did you want to learn who the father was?
Yes.
Because your daughter was underage.
Yes.
And so was that something to be addressed once the baby was born?
Yes.
During the time frame of between March 2018 and December 2018, did you have any after reporting Kamar Humphrey to the police, did you have any problems with Kamar Humphrey?
Yes, before.
Just from the situation that you called the police on?
Yeah, it was just a little tension between the households.
Did you, though, have any issues with Kamar Humphrey after reporting him to the police?
No.
And the accusation against the defendant being the father of IS's baby was prior to December 19, 2018.
Can you repeat that?
No problem. Did you accuse the defendant of fathering your daughter's child prior to IS leaving Terry Parker on that December 19th date?
Yes, it was, yes.
Prior to December 19, 2018, had your daughter ever went anywhere without your knowledge?
No.
Had she ever gone away for the night without your knowledge?
No.
Was this completely out of normal?
Completely, yes.
No further questions.
Ma'am, good to see you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.